Oh yeah, it's a concept. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing we got to do. Yeah. I mean, through college, we told you really, that we told you that you chip things in. Yeah, that market's been done for years. So it's just like, yeah, unless we stop creating more sex. And there's like sex. Yeah, I thought it was very lofty. Yes, well, we have a community. Okay. Okay. That's good. What? It's about having funding for yeah. He's okay, you're really fun. Big weight in life, right? I know there was a weight. Yeah. And we're like moving Irish. And we're nowhere near competing against women actually. Oh yeah, no, I was made well aware of that one.
Yeah, we're gonna run this time. Good evening, folks. We're going to get started. If you can please take your seats. I know that there's a lot going on. We're just a few days away from the election, so we want to wrap up our meeting as quickly as we can. Once again, good evening. If I can have your attention, we're going to call to order the meeting of Wednesday, October 23rd of the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee. My name is David Campos, and I'm the chair of the committee. Thank you. And so we're going to get started with calling the roll. So I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Member Shea.
Thank you, Chair Campos. Member Alexander. Here. Member Aliotto. Member Baraka. Here. Member Bryan. Here. Chair Campos. Present. Member Chan. Here. Member De Jesus. Member Duffy. Here. Member Fewer. Member Groth is here by proxy. Member F. Shea is here. Member Tom Shea. Member Tom Shea.
Excuse.
Okay. Member Jung. Here. Member Kim. Member Kim. Out. Member LaCroix.
Here by proxy.
Member Leviton. Member Leviton. Member Lowe. Member Lowe. Member Mahogany. She was going to be late. Member Mandolin.
Here by proxy.
Member Maxwell. Here. Member Norton. Member Norton. Member Sousa. Member Feinstein. Here. Member Pelosi. Member Pelosi. Member Spear. Member Kumalakis. Here. Member Ma. Running late. Member Cohen.
Copy.
Member Wiener.
Here.
Member Tate.
Here.
And Member Chu.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Before we actually proceed with the agenda, I'd like to take one item out of order, and that is item 6A, which is the appointment in the 17th Assembly District. Just to remind folks, this is to fill a vacancy that was left by one of our members who moved out of San Francisco Pratima Gupta. I was actually going to make the appointment last meeting, but because of scheduling, hoping to, that we appoint tonight could not be at the last meeting. Let me say that I believe that it's important to fill this vacancy. If the election were happening for this in November, I wouldn't be making the appointment today, but I do think that with the election not happening until next year, and with a number of things happening, including an endorsement vote in December, that it's appropriate to fill this vacancy. And in terms of the vacancy, I wanted to go back to something that I said when I appointed with your ratification. Sarah was appointed to a vacancy that was left by Malia Cohen, who, because she was elected to the Board of Equalization, could not hold 2 seats. At the time that I made the appointment of Sarah Sousa, I made it clear that it was important for me, and I know that for Malia Cohen as well, to have a representative from District 10 and to have an African American person appointed to that seat. And I wanted to live up to that promise. And in thinking about the appointment and talking to a lot of people, it became very clear that it was actually a very obvious choice. And that's why I'm proudly appointing and asking for your ratification, and that is the appointment of Supervisor Jamon Walton, who currently represents District 10 on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Who better than him to actually know the issues that are facing that district and the issues that are facing the African American community. I don't really need to tell you too much about prior to becoming a supervisor. He did a great deal of work as a member of the San Francisco Board of Education, working with young people, and I just think that his reputation speaks for itself. And so with that, I'd like to formally make the recommendation to appoint Jamon Walton to fill that vacancy, and would ask for a second of that. And I don't know if there's any comment or discussion. If we can, those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, abstention from member Lieutenant Governor Nowakis and from Malia Cohen. So it passes. Congratulations. And with that, so if we can give them a hand. Before we bring them up, we're going to, first of all, let me administer the oath, and then we'll give you an opportunity to say a few words, and then we will have you take the oath. After me, I, Jamon Walton, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. And during such time that I hold the office of a member of the San Francisco Democratic County Central
in San Francisco, across the state, and of course, across the country. I'm looking forward to registering voters and making sure that the principles that we all share are spread across the state, the city, and this country. So with that said, I'm just excited to serve. Looking forward to working with everyone here. I just want to thank you again, Chair Congress, for having enough faith in me to do a good job in this role. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supervisor. And so if we can take your seat, member, we'll now move on to item number 2. And by the way, we actually are live streaming our meetings to those San Francisco Democrats that are watching. Thank you for doing that. So we'll begin with the approval of the meeting agenda. Colleagues, you have the agenda before you, and I believe that there is actually one amendment to the agenda, which is the addition of a last-minute resolution that was introduced by member Souza, and that is a resolution to expand mental health resources for immigrant youth. If we can get a motion to amend the agenda to include this resolution. So motion by Duffy, seconded by Bryant. Can we take that amendment without objection? Without objection. So the agenda is amended. So can we take now a motion on the amended agenda? Motion by Duffy and seconded by Souza by proxy. We can take that without objection. Without objection, the agenda as amended is adopted. So now we'll move on to the to item 3, which is the approval of the meeting minutes for September 25th. And colleagues, you have the minutes of that meeting before you. Any changes or comments? Any corrections? If we could take a motion. So motion by Duffy, seconded by Maxwell. We can take that without objection. Without objection, the meeting minutes of September 25th are adopted. And now, always one of the most important parts of our meeting, which is to have to hear from our San Francisco Democrats. And we have a number of speaker cards, and the way that this works, we have the mic right in the center aisle. If you can please line up in the center aisle as I speak, as I call your name. So we're missing a card? Okay. Okay, so Judith, you can come up. So after Judith, we're going to have Susan, Shane, and Merrill, Agatha, Susan Pfeiffer, and then anyone who has not been called and would like to speak, please come on up. Oh, it fell, so that's where it is. Judith Volker. Okay, so Judith. And the way that the rules work, you have up to 2 minutes to speak. So.
I see your sign voting in San Francisco, November 5th. I want to alert everyone to another very important election, November 5th, and that is in Virginia. And we have a real chance of turning Virginia blue. We just need to flip 2 House seats, State House seats, and 2 State Senate seats. So in that regard, I want to tell you about a phone bank that we have in partnership with United Democratic Club. If you've never, of course you guys are all old hands at phone banking, right? But if you've never phone banked, we will train you. Virginia is set up as a pod. There's 1 person running for Senate and then 2 people for House. So the pod we're supporting with UDC is Deborah Rodman for Senate, and then Skylar Van Vulkenberg for House, and Rodney Willett also for House. So we have that. We also are partnering with a wonderful organization that helps get underserved communities, people of color, out to vote. And we will not win in Virginia if the people of color are not voting. And of course, the Republicans have pulled a fast Sister District. So
Thank you so much, Judith. And please come and volunteer. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Susan Shane. I'm the co-lead, a Food Left San Francisco. So just to dovetail on what Jude said, we also have phone banks and we into Arizona, and we're going to have a GOTV phone bank for Karen Mallard, Bill Hernandez, and John Bell, who's running for the Senate, the other two are for the House delegates. And we're going to have GOTV phone banks just before so every day before the election. Now, in addition to that, we have an event coming up tomorrow. So if you are free, between 6:30 and 8, we're screening. It is fabulous, and we are having a conversation with the filmmaker Kimberly Reed and the former chair of the FEC, Ann Gravel, who is also running for Senate in Isla. Anyway, it'll be fantastic. It's a women's building, 6:30 to 8:30, dark money, no cost. Come, join us, and it's so timely. And then, of course, we're canvassing in CD10. We went last week. We knocked on 420 doors, had 24% answer rate. And the number was gun control and then climate change. But everything was on people's minds. So come, join us. We're working with you, and you're supporting us anyway. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi everyone, my name is Agatha Basilar, and I'm running for U.S. Congress right here in San Francisco. That does mean I am challenging Nancy Pelosi, and so I wanted to come up here, introduce myself, say that I'd like to have a conversation with her. So I respect Speaker Pelosi, and I wish her all the luck as she navigates this impeachment inquiry. But part of the reason I'm running is because I spent the last 5 years working as a documentary filmmaker and political activist, spending time in the places where justice is most urgently needed, in locked facilities, in under-resourced classrooms, in immigrant detention, with unbanked folks. And what I've seen, I'm haunted by, and I know that Trump, just removing him is not enough. We actually have to win back this country for everyday Americans, and we see that right here in San Francisco. I'm here with my campaign manager. We have cards. I'd like to set up meetings with all of you and get to know San Francisco organized together. And just so you know, I'm running on a progressive platform. I support Medicare for All, a Green New Deal, getting big money out of politics. And one of the ideas I'm really inspired by is that I actually have an engineering background, and I helped start a nonprofit called Democracy Earth that was building open source voting software. And I want to help make San Francisco the most representative place in the world where we can actually use technology and community events and hold leaders accountable to what the people want and need. I also support a universal basic income, and I'm going to be speaking at the Universal Basic Income March this Sunday with Andrew Yang. Come out, support, and choose.
What time is that?
The march is from 1 to 4 for universal basic income, and then there's an Andrew Yang rally right after from 4 to 6. Yeah.
Are you running as a Democrat?
Of course I'm running as a Democrat.
Would you like to give to Deb 2020? I'll get it done for you. You revise the policy.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Down. I just got back from the CARA convention in Sacramento with Henny. A little tired. It was a good convention. My monthly report, we had a stellar new citizen swearing in last week, one of our best ever. With the 2 ceremonies, we registered a total of 411 new voters. I'm not sure we were more than 400 before. It was awesome. And part of that was because we had extra volunteers. We had over 30 per session. The more volunteers we have, the more people we could register. Now, I know most of you have day jobs and cannot do it, but any of you who don't, since the DCCC benefits from the bounty from doing this, it would be fantastic to experience it. It's a real high. November 13th, there'll be 2 ceremonies. That's a Wednesday. Thursday the 21st, just from 10 a.m. And December 12th, which is a Thursday, the two ceremonies. And rumor has it that the red to blue office may be reopening after the March primary. We have to protect the House races we won. The Republicans are coming after them. And at the CARA convention, I sat next to someone from T.J. Cox's district. We got to protect that. So, again, thank you.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Susan Pfeiffer. Thank you for everything you do, Susan. Thank you. Any other speaker? Any member of the public who would like to speak? Seeing none, public comment is closed. And thank you very much for coming out, San Francisco Democrats. And now we have, I'm going to turn it over to Member Baraka, who has requested that this item be put on the agenda. And it's a very important presentation about our election system. So with that, Member Baraka.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that actually another member, Member Galata, reached out to me and was concerned that people didn't know about our new voting system. I've seen them out at street fairs and such, and I'm sure you have too, Peter, but we wanted to take this opportunity, and we know that people who have already voted by mail, such as myself, have already voted, but if you're a poll voter or if you haven't sent your ballot in, this is a great opportunity to learn about our new system. So with that,
good evening, everyone. My name is Gordon Valenzuela. I'm here with the Department of Elections. I'm just here to give you a general presentation on some things that are going to be happening during this election. Okay, so the mission of the San Francisco Department of Elections is to provide access to election-related services and voting, and to conduct elections that are free, fair, and functional. This is 100% nonpartisan. Okay, so some topics we're going to cover. So some important dates for the November 5th, 2019 election. Voter registration, contests on the ballot, changes on San Francisco ballots, the new voting system, voting options, the schedule of the election results, and the March 3rd, 2020 primary election, and party preference and why it matters. Okay, so some important dates we're going to go over. So, from October 7th to November 5th, early voting is open now for early voting, and it has been from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then 2 weeks, so we'll be open on the weekends now too. So October 21st was the last day to register to vote. Anyone else who wants to vote can come on election day and register conditionally at City Hall and vote provisionally. Also at the San Francisco State Satellite Voting Center. Okay, last day to request a ballot by mail is October 29th, and then from November 2nd to Voting Center will be open so they can vote early there too. And then of course November 5th is Election Day. Now polling places and voting centers are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the last day to mail a ballot for it to be counted would be November 5th. Okay, so registering to vote or updating your registration. You can register to vote online at registertovote.ca.gov or fill out a paper application. Now the registration deadline was October 21st again, so if anyone wants to vote on election day, they have to go into City Hall in San Francisco State. Now once your application is processed, the Department of Election will mail a notification card to confirm your registration. Now to check your registration, you can use our tool at sfelections.org/reglookup or call us at the Department of Elections at 415-554-4375. Now, if you missed the registration deadline, so those who missed the registration deadline can visit the City Hall Voting Center and the San Francisco State University Voting Center to take advantage of conditional voter registration and voting. So again, San Francisco City Hall is at 1 Dock, and we're open right now. San Francisco State University Voting Center is at the Tower Conference Room. This is at 798 State Drive, and they will be open from November 2nd to November 5th. Okay, so what is on the ballot for the November 5th election? So some contests that will appear on the November 5th election ballot include Mayor, the Board of Supervisors in District 5, City Attorney, District Attorney, Public Defender, the Sheriff, the treasurer, Board of Education, seat 7, seat 5 for the Community College Board, and local ballot measures. Now, the ballot will consist of multiple cards. Voters will continue to use bilingual ballots available in English and Chinese, English and Spanish, or English and Filipino. Now, you can indicate your ballot language preference to the Department of Elections at sfelections.org/language or to a poll worker on election day. Okay, so let's learn about some of the contents on the ballot. So here we have the voter information pamphlet. This has been sent out already, so if you know anyone that hasn't received their voter information pamphlet, have them call the department directly and we can get one out to them. About voting and local candidates and ballot measures. Now, registered voters will receive the VIP in the mail. They should have received it already. If they haven't, again, remember to call the Department of Elections. Now, you can choose to receive a paper copy of the VIP by mail, or you can opt out of mailings and receive a digital copy. Now, to indicate your preference, visit sfelections.org/VIP online. Okay, so what will change beginning with the November 5th election? So first thing, when marking your ballot, voters will fill in ovals next to their select passed. Okay, now ranked choice voting contests will be presented on a grid-like ballot format instead of a 3-column layout. The city's new voting system will allow voters to rank up to 10 candidates in ranked choice voting contests instead of 3 candidates. So that's only if 10 candidates are running in the contest. Right now, mayor is at 6, so it would be 6 candidates plus 1 additional space for a write-in candidate. Now, in ranked choice voting contest, the name of candidates are listed in rows on the left side of the grid. Numbered rankings appear in last. So I know it's kind of hard to see here, but if you wanted to rank beach first, forest second, ocean third, and glacier fourth, mountain fifth, you would fill the ovals out as shown in the presentation. So we really just wanted to make this kind of, we thought it was more intuitive. It actually reduces stray marks that our machines had trouble picking up the past couple of elections. It's similar to a scan contest. Okay, so do not give the same ranking to multiple candidates. In other words, do not fill in more than 1 oval in the same column. Now, for example, vote. This is called an overvote. Now, if you give the same ranking to multiple candidates, your vote in that rank and in later ranks will not count because we cannot determine voter intent. Okay, another key point to remember, do not rank the same candidate more than once. Now, for example, Glacier cannot be both your 3rd and 4th choices. If you rank the same candidate multiple times, your vote for that candidate will count only once. I'm sorry, what was that? Of course, yeah. So if you say you rank for your 3rd choice, you rank it twice. Like 3rd and 4th choice, both match. Only if the contest gets to your 3rd choice. So your vote stays with your 1st choice until that 1st choice candidate is eliminated. Yeah, awesome. Great question. Okay, another example of an overvote to avoid. So you'll see here on the screen, Mountain is selected in all 10 rankings. Now, in this case, your vote for Mountain will count only once. If Mountain is eliminated during counting, your vote for that contest is exhausted. So you can rank as many or as few candidates as you like in each contest. Now, for example, you could just rank your first 4 choices. If you choose, it is all right to leave column blank for candidates you do not wish to rank. Okay, now keep in mind that ranking other candidates does not affect your first choice. Your second choice and any later choices will be considered only if your first choice candidate does not win. Okay, let's go over the new voting system. So this is our ballot scanning machine. Every polling place will have a ballot scanning machine that tallies votes on voted ballot cards. Now, votes and images of the ballot cards are stored on memory cards, and then when a voter finishes marking the ballot card must be inserted into the machine in any orientation, one at a time. Now, the Department of Election will post images of scanned ballots, each with notes indicating how vote marks were counted by the voting equipment on sfelections.org. And members of the public can view and sort the ballot images to compare them. Another important thing to mention that these machines are never connected to an internet. Everything is or no connected to the internet. Everything's localized. The memory cards that are in the machines are picked up by the sheriffs at the end of the day, and held by the sheriffs till the next day when we are opening to our campus in Period. Yes?
I have a question about that. So are the belts supposed to be identified when they're supposed to be public?
Yeah, there's no.
Can you speak into the mic so that people who are live streaming can ask?
Sorry, my question, when they're posted, because you do have a receipt that is tied to your individual, to you as an individual, excuse me.
Yes, so there's nothing connected to the voter's identity at all in any of these systems. Yeah. Good question. 1 minute. Oh man. Okay, let's get moving. Okay, so another thing is the accessible ballot marking device. Now, every polling place will have an accessible ballot marking device that allows voters with disabilities to mark, review, and print their ballots privately and independently. Now, voters can use any of several accessible features, including touchscreen and audio modes. Now, the device does not store or tabulate votes. Now, ballot printouts from the device must be scanned using the ballot scanning machine. So basically, it's a touchscreen interface that prints out another paper ballot. We always have a paper trail. That's the most secure way we see running an election. Yes, ma'am.
Into the mic so that people can hear the question.
If a person needs an aide to help them vote, is that allowed?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. Yes, the aide would just have to sign on the roster that they had helped the voter fill out their ballot.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Great. Okay. Here's some voting options everyone has. So again, the ballots were mailed on October 6th. City Hall Voting Center opened October 7th. Now, November 2nd, San Francisco State University Satellite Voting Center will be open for early voting. And then Election Day, of course, is November 5th. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Now, voters with disabilities who vote by mail can go to sfelections.org/access to mark an electronic ballot. Marked ballots must be printed and returned by mail in person. I feel like we're running pretty close. Okay. Yeah, so the March primary election is just around the corner. So 2020 presidential primary election will be held on March 3rd. I think everyone knows how a primary is conducted here. Okay, and party preference is important for this election and the upcoming election, so we want voters to have them mark a political party preference.
Will you be getting that word out?
Yes, we have. Anyone that fills out a registration form, we check it and we ask them if they want to make sure if they mark a political party preference. If they say they have no party preference, then we don't press the issue, but we inform them why political party preference is important. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the language.
Into the mic so people are.
Bilingual Cantonese and English, but yet I have Spanish surname, registered voters in my household. Why wouldn't it be bilingual with Spanish? How do you guys determine what second language you're going to?
Yes, so the voter would have to request, so the English Chinese ballot is our kind of our default ballot we give to everyone. If they would like, if they have a language preference, they would have to contact the Department of Elections or put it on their registration form. You could call, yeah, or you could update your registration form. Yeah, we just don't want to assume because of the last name that someone is certainly speaking of.
You guys do.
Yeah, so again, I think that's the last thing. I just go over some election dates. So November 5th again is our consolidated municipal election. March 3rd is the presidential primary election, and November 3rd, 2020 is the consolidated general election. Yeah, we have materials available. Again, if anyone wants some, we have some extra materials available if you want to hand some out. Again, if you have questions, you can call us 415-554-4375 or email us at sfvote@sfgov.org.
Thank you. Primary.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you have information for people who might not be registered as Democrats but may want to vote for a Democrat in the primary about when and how
they have to do that change of registration?
Change of registration. I'm not exactly sure for this upcoming primary. That means we're gonna have to talk to. Oh, she got it.
Yeah. So we actually just saying that we will have conditional voting for all polling places for the March election. So for conditional voting means that you can pick a party preference. Let's say if somebody choose no party, but they wanted to vote for some other party, we're nonpartisan, so that they can request a ballot with that party preference in every single polling place, as well as the voting center. So for now, we only have voting centers. So the SF State and City Hall voting center for conditional voting, but presidential primary election, we will have it for every single polling place.
What about for people who are mail ballot voters? Will you notify them that they can change they can ask for a Democratic primary so they can vote for Democrats?
So again, the Department of Election is 100% nonpartisan. We can't, ask them to change, but we will do our best to ask everybody to update their registration.
You're
That's
not
what.
understanding the question. If people are registered no party preference and they vote by mail, before the deadline to register to vote for the March primary, they can re-register and change their party preference and get the ballot in the mail for the party they choose.
Yeah, so that's the first step.
Do you notify people in any way, like on the radio or by mail or just running through the streets naked, talking about it, that they can do that re-registration?
So registration, that's the reason why we have a slide included for political party preference, because it really does matter in presidential elections. So as outreach of Department of Election, we do go out and, to just inform people that they could update their registration and do everything about it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Appreciate the presentation. The one thing that I would note, and I know that we have members of the Board of Supervisors here, so I think it would be helpful for you to think about whether or not there should be additional information sent to vote by mail voters to let them know that they could change the party registration for purposes of the primary. Not to say that they should or encourage them, but just to let them know that they could.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good suggestions. Before we come out for this presentation, our deputy director actually asked us, what type of question have we been receiving from the public? So she's actually looking to draft, those content and what we can do with election. And as we move forward, we'll do more and more for that. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you for considering.
Thank you so much.
And if you inadvertently tell them to voter, to register as Democrats, we don't mind that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Give him a hand. It's that job to run an election. So thank you, Member Baraka, for that suggestion. Now we'll move on to item number 6, which is the officer reports. And I'll begin with my report and a couple of things to report upon. First of all, as you know, we had a competitive process to select a consultant to do our slate card and program for the election. MJE was selected, and hopefully all of you have seen the slate card that went out. And that went out to over 100,000 households. I don't have the exact number with me, but it's a pretty large mailing that went out. And it's also going out along the lines of what we did last year for the Chinese, to make sure that we're communicating in different languages. So we're very proud of that work, and thank you to our executive director for overseeing that effort. I also want to note that we actually had a resignation from one of our members, and that's member Megan Levitan. The way that the timing worked, we couldn't get the appointment on the agenda. But I just want to take this opportunity. She's probably not watching, because once you've resigned, you probably don't want to be watching. meetings. But I just want to say to Megan Levitan, who has been with me for so many years, thank you very much for your service. It's a pleasure to serve with someone like you. So if we can, in absentia, she's not here, give her a big round of applause for her service, for being with Megan. And whether we agree with you or not, you always have been very thoughtful, very insightful, very respectful, hard worker, and just a great Democrat. So we really appreciate your service on the committee. A couple of announcements that you should be looking out for. One, election night party. We're still trying to figure out where that will be, so you will be hearing from our executive director very shortly to let you know where we will be. And so we encourage all of us, not only on the committee, but also Democrats who want to come out and hang out with the leadership of the Democratic Party to come out to our event. Of course, we'll be watching closely to see what happens with our endorsed measures and candidates, and it'll be, I think, a very good time. And of course, we're very proud of the program that we ran for the election, and so we'll keep you posted on the location. The other thing is that we will be also doing a holiday party. We're still trying to finalize the date for that party and the location, and one possible location is actually Manning's, where we held our party last year. So we'll be announcing the time and place very shortly, and of course want people to come out and celebrate the holidays with us. And then I just want to note that we will be, one of our clubs will be actually hosting its annual dinner gala tomorrow. That's the Latino Democratic Club. And I want to note that because I think that it would be helpful for us to make a small contribution to that effort. Unless there's any objection, we're going to proceed to do that. The Latino Democratic Club was especially useful to us, like many other clubs, but with the Red to Blue effort, a lot of the staffing that went into that operation came from members in the leadership of that club, and I think it's important to support them. So with that, I will turn it over now to our, oh yes, actually I do have this. So as you know, we usually don't meet during the holidays, but as we decided in the last meeting that we had is that we will be having a special meeting in December in preparation for endorsements for the March primary. We will be endorsing ballot measures, I think, that will be on the ballot. I'm not sure if there will be any candidate races, though there might be some judicial races. And the meeting date is December 4th. So it's Wednesday, December 4th, same time, same location. So please mark your calendars. If you have any thoughts on whether or not we should do the holiday party after the meeting, that's another possibility, though I don't know if that works because it's an endorsement meeting, so it may take longer. So with that, I'll turn it over to our finance director.
Actually, I don't have anything to report this month.
Okay, great, thank you. And then, the work of voter registration continues, so I'm going to turn it over to Member Baraka to give us a report on that.
I'm just going to say real quickly 3 quick points. I think that it is great that we hit a record at the Paramount, 411. That's fantastic. I think the presentation was great, so I don't think we really have anything to say about that. Register. Please remind them that we do have conditional voter registration throughout the state. It is a provisional ballot, but as long as there are no other irregularities, everything should be fine. That is all.
Okay. We'll now move on to our treasurer, Member Alexander.
Good evening, everybody. You have your report in your packet. So you can see that I'm just going to kind of go through this. The total income we have from our federal account has been $80,038. Cash on hand is $6,476. And state cash on hand is $32,247.30. State income total has been $198,232.40. You can see the money that we brought in on the fundraising dinner is listed and identified as such within the breakdown here. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to partnerships. Supervisor Maxwell.
You heard from our partners today, and also I went to the phone bank on Saturday, and we really need your help. So please come out and support. Thank you.
Committees. Member Baraka, do you want to report on the committees? Committee to develop a black agenda? No? Okay, we move. Okay. Okay, nothing to report. So we'll now hear from our executive director.
I think really the only thing to add is we will have the venue for election night party by the end of the week. So there's a couple places work with folks to get that ready. We also, since Leah wasn't here to do the report, we do have some mobilizations in partnership with UDC, other folks who are endorsed candidates. You can find those on our Facebook and on our website.
Wonderful, thank you. And as you know, one of the big things that will be happening in November is the State Democratic Convention in Long Beach. And I know that our regional director, Henny Kelly, has been doing a lot of work. And maybe I don't know if you have any announcements or anything else to report that you're working on.
Well, I'm on an ad hoc committee, and that is the committee on the financing for the Democratic Party. And we are sending out, and I will send out if I haven't already, a questionnaire. I know Han will get it out to the clubs, etc. But it is a questionnaire on what do you want to see as far as financing for the Democratic Party. And in a way, what I have asked the party to do is to list. I mean, I could go get it because I look at it every day, so I know exactly who they get money from and how much money they get. But I would like an authentic list from them. I do not believe that every rich person is evil. I don't even believe that every big corporation is evil. I think they might be, but I don't believe or have facts to prove. So what we want to see is what these people, who we are taking from. And then one of the things that I am trying is that we will not take corporate money from any corporation that doesn't believe in or doesn't seem to with their product or anything else to agree with our platform. Now you know on our platform we are we say things about fossil fuels, we say things about tobacco, we say things about cheating and lying and stealing and stuff like that. And so I thought that was a good place to start. First, and to ask them to only give money, get money from people and corporations that believe in what we believe in, and that's our platform. So that's an important thing. We're going to be doing that. But I haven't told you as being on that committee and on the finance committee and your regional director that I would like to see everyone who is sitting here, they give to them 2020 every single month. Now, the reason I ask this is a very selfish thing. I would like to sit in the front of the convention yet again. Right?
Yes.
And I 12. And before that, I was giving to them before they even had a program. So, I'm passing this out. No, you're passing this out. And I would like to see them before the end of the meeting. I'm really serious. If we have more people in the we get front row seats.
I give.
And I think that would be
Okay.
front row seats. I think that would be great, don't you? And it's a really serious thing. Since I was forced to be on the Finance Committee and the Ad Hoc Committee, at least I want to see that they know that I'm trying to get money for the Democratic Party, and I think it's important. So if you're just a proxy, you can give two, because you're a Democrat. You can't be here unless you are. And you can take two of them if you're a proxy, because you give it to the person that made you a proxy and say you give two. So thank you very much. I want you to do it.
Thank you, Henny. Thank you for not being shy about these issues. We appreciate it. Item number 7, which is a resolution that has been introduced by Member Galata. A resolution calling for the reinstatement of public financing for national party conventions to limit corporate lobbyists' influence. So with that, I'll turn it over to Member Galata.
Thank you, Chair Campos. I will keep my remarks brief, and colleagues, I am going to pass around a slightly amended version of the resolution, so that will be passed. So this actually builds a lot on what Henny was just talking about, which is the issue of how we take money and who we take money from. And I'm glad to hear that the state party is demonstrating leadership on that. I also think the national party needs to take leadership on that as well. And so that is really the spirit of this resolution. It's also about disclosure of the money that the national party is taking for the Democratic National Convention, which is coming up next year, as we all know, and also about how we can, moving forward, look at developing criteria at money the party's taking and to align it with our values. It was reported last month that the Democratic Party national leadership had been reaching out to corporations and lobbyists to fund the convention. And so I think it raises questions about, in my mind, about how we can change this, because we do have a perception issue as a party around coziness with corporations and who we are aligned with. And also we have an issue, I think, with process in terms of how we're doing it. So as I said, this resolution tonight to this challenge. One, bringing back public financing. And interestingly enough, national party conventions were funded through public dollars dating back, I think, from the 70s. And unfortunately, Congress eliminated public funding for national party conventions in 2014. So this is something I think that we need to reinstate so that national parties like the Democratic Party do not need to rely so heavily on private funding to fund our convention. The second part of this resolution talks about disclosure. So bringing in some sunshine, daylighting contributions earlier. For example, right now convention host committees do not need to disclose contributions until 60 days after the event. So we need to know, I think we all deserve the right to know where money is coming from, and for that to be happening sooner in the process than later. And then lastly, the National Party looking ahead, right, for 2024, can we develop at the national level criteria for determining what money we take or don't take that aligns again with the party's platform and values? So thinking about we shouldn't be taking money from payday lenders, from the gun lobby, from fossil fuel companies, etc. Right? So let's develop some criteria when those asks are being made around who we're asking and what money we're accepting. So I recognize very well that this is not something we ourselves at the local party are going to influence all that much or change, and certainly not before 2020. The public financing piece through Congress to do that. And also I want to acknowledge that I know obviously fundraising is already underway for the 2020 convention, and there are some benefits that are tied to the funding that is coming in, and I want to acknowledge that there's, for example, ADA integration that the party is committing to at the National Convention, which is really important, and that requires funding, and so we don't want to jeopardize those commitments that have been made around increasing access to the convention. So this is really looking farther out to say that we need to make some changes. Let's do better in 2024. And I do want to just thank Christine Pelosi for her incredible insight on this and her input, which is reflected in the updated language before you. And I also just want to thank, I know Matthew Steen is here from the South Beach District 6 Democratic Club. They've supported this resolution. I appreciate them signing on, and just for their strong commitment to addressing dark money in our politics.
So we have a motion to amend the resolution along the lines that Member Galata noted. So we second by Duffy. Can we take? So without objection, the resolution is amended. Any other comments on this resolution? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So, okay, Kounalakis and Cohen. The resolution passes. Thank you, Member Galata, for bringing this forward. And now thank you to members of the public who are here on this issue. So now we'll move on to the resolution that was introduced by Member Sousa, and we are honored to have sitting as a proxy for Member Sousa today, Anabel Ibanez, who, as many of you know, is the political director for the United Educators of San Francisco. We're great partners of the local party. So with that, I'll turn it over to Anabel.
Thank you, and it's an honor to be here, and particularly being a proxy for Member Sousa. On behalf of Member Sousa, I would like to introduce the resolution to expand mental health resources for immigrant youth. As said to me, she wanted to understand what was an issue that I believe really impacted the Latino community, and the issue that I feel that is impacting the Latino community as it connects and it relates to school is mental health. The American Psychologists Association did a research, and it shows that Latino youth, compared to its peers, to its white peers, they have a higher percentage of depression, and particularly to suicidal ideation and behavior. And it's a big concern. And it's a big concern because U.S. Census, there's 59 million Latinos in the United States, and 1/3 of that population is 18 and under, which means that by 2016, the Latino community will be the largest ethnic minority group with 160 million people living in the U.S. And the biggest concern for me is that there is a high percentage of young people that are Latinos who are not actually accessing mental health or being provided the mental health that they need. And this is one of the reasons why we want to make sure that we move this resolution, because we want to make sure that the schools are addressed, not only at the school here in San Francisco, but it's being addressed at a state level to ensure that this need is being met. And with that, I would like your support to pass this resolution.
So, colleagues, we have a motion and a second motion by Member Sousa by proxy, seconded Member De Jesus. Member Bryan. So Member Bryan wants to be added as a co-sponsor. Yes, Member Ting.
I just want to say before we take a vote that while we agree with the overall thrust of this resolution, since this could become a budget item, it says the governor's budget, and we work through it and come and see, let's say a budget that we're going to have things, so we can't commit to any kind of budget item before the process begins. The budget. That's all. Thanks.
Colleagues, any other comments? Yes. So, Member Cohen.
So just as the title suggests, is for all immigrants. However, the clause specifically states Latino, which leads her to wonder if African American Caribbean students are also included in this. even though their numbers are far less than the Latino community. Are they included or excluded? She said it's unclear. Is there a need for such a service? If so, is it documented somewhere? She feels like the resolution needs better to be worded better, and she's sure that written and presented feels like it's exclusionary to other people, not Latinos. That.
Anything?
I think this resolution is really important, and here's why. It does say immigrants, but when we're talking about the Latino youth, it's even higher in terms of the, if you look into current research that the American Psychologists Association conducted, and I believe it was done last year, there's a high percentage of Latino students of the age between, in grades of 9th to 12th grade who have a higher ideation rate, a higher suicidal ideation rate than any other group besides Native Americans, even compared to African Americans. And this is not to exclude anyone, it's just that it's an issue that needs to be brought up and be able to address this. And I feel like if we need to do a resolution that includes other groups, that I'm more than happy to work with the sponsor SOSA on this.
Okay. So, do you want to move forward, or do you want to hold off? What do you want to? Any comments or any?
For me, it's really important that we work together with our African American community, and I would like to ensure that we work with Member Cohen, Member Cohen, and anyone else who would like to work on this.
Member Daisy.
It's exclusionary. The way I read it is DACA and immigrant children who are being persecuted and put in jails and dying in federal custody. If the focus is on them, their rights are being trampled upon, they're disappearing, they're taking from their families. So I just think this is an urgent right now, and I don't see it as an exclusionary thing. I just think it's really necessary for the political environment that these children, the immigrant community, and the DACA children find themselves in.
Member Lowe.
Part of this resolution, the intent. I think my only concern, it's not really a concern, I think it's a yes and, that we do have disparate immigrant populations, including Latinx, but also API, Black. There's folks crossing through a lot of people don't know this, but people are crossing through the Central American border that are from other countries. So this is an international migrant crisis. So I wonder if there's a way that we can support this, because I think there is validity in the fact that Latinx immigrant youth are dealing with quite a lot given the circumstances, but also be expansive to also include other immigrants. I do, yes, you're right. It doesn't necessarily say it's exclusive of Latinx, but I do fear that when we don't call certain things out, we tend to paint immigrants as just a Latinx issue, and that's the fear, that this erasure of these communities that are completely overlooked. So I wonder how we can do it in a way that's friendly, that calls it out for, yeah, go ahead. I'll give you the mic back.
I was wondering if we can amend the resolution, that it's for all, different ethnic groups here in San Francisco, and then not our API community, our Black community, and making sure that there is no intent to exclude anyone in this resolution. I also want to point out that since the shooting that happened at El Paso, Texas in August, we have seen also, and there's been reports that there's been a high percentage of depression, of increased depression among Latinx youth, and I think it's because of this administration that is putting all this rhetoric out there that many of us, including myself, feel excluded and feel that we're not part of this community or society, and I think it's really important to call that out. But I think in the essence of making sure that we're working together as a community, acknowledging that other groups, it's important.
So, can I ask, just for the language, what would you like to add what is the language that you like added? I think it's not the resolve clause is actually broad enough. It's more the body of the language, the whereas, you know,
I'm not just removing Latino, putting immigrant children.
I mean, yes. So we have a suggestion, Member Lowe.
I mean, of course, it would be nice to have more whereas clauses, but in the interest of time, if we want to get this passed today, a friendly amendment would be it resolved, strong support for immigrant children, including Latinx, Black, or African, we can add others, and then especially Latinx. So there is an emphasis on the Latinx, but also identifying that there's other communities that are also impacted by this. But I don't know whether other communities, I don't want to be exclusive, but we should mention some.
So that is the proposed amendment. Is there a second? Second by Brian. Can we take that amendment without objection? Member Baraka.
I just forgotten, and then that group is going to feel excluded. So if we kept it more generic, then that would include everyone that would consider themselves an immigrant, is my point. But it's not strong enough to feel like I want to stop the resolution, but that was my point of view on that subject.
Well, I think, as I understand the amendment, it's that to the extent that Latino immigrants are listed, there was a sense that maybe it was important to list others so that they felt included, given that the fact that you were mentioning one group. I mean, as I understand it, that's the intent of the amendment, right? Yes.
Cool, it's on. What about just combining the two, saying immigrant and then calling out especially Latinx?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry, we could just combine the two suggestions, say immigrant and then especially Latinx. What do you guys think? It may be a different word, but like effectively.
I mean, one thing that I would note, and the application was first submitted, I think it was earlier today, is that the reason why we try to ask people to submit resolutions prior to the deadline to put up notices, which is 10 days prior, is that the idea is that once you submit the proposed resolution, the advance notice gives members an opportunity to engage with the author of the resolution so that you can hear from members on whether or not they have specific concerns. In this case, I think it means that there's, especially with respect to Latino youth and immigrant youth, an issue here, right? And the key is, how do you make that point, but you do so in a way that doesn't seem to exclude anyone, right? Because the reality is that immigrants come in all shapes, sizes, and from all parts of the world. And so that is one of the reasons why I always try to encourage folks not to submit last-minute resolutions unless there is a time-sensitive reason for it. So yes, Member Mahogany.
I actually just came from a community meeting where we were going over the Filipino after-school program, where they mentioned that 36% of Filipino youth have attempted suicide here in San Francisco and Soma specifically, and they only make up 4% of the population, but they represent 36% of the suicide attempts. So just as an example, I think that there are a lot of things that could be incorporated, and I wasn't sure if there was a pressing need to pass it today, or if it could be passed at the December 4th meeting with some amendments.
My suggestion from Member Sousa and her proxy is that we hold off and bring this back to the December 4th meeting so that, this is a very important issue. And to anyone who's watching, just know that we care deeply about what happens to all of our immigrants, and certainly the Latinx immigrants. We care about this issue as it impacts them. But I think it's better that when we speak, in an inclusive way that addresses the challenges that everyone faces. So with that, can we just withdraw the motion and bring it back, if that's okay?
Yes,
I think that's really important. I think this is an issue that has big impact in our community, but I do want to continue and acknowledge the fact that Latino youth do suffer from a higher rate of mental health issues compared to other peers in our community, and I do want to make sure that this issue is addressed, but at the same time I want to make sure that all the other issues and all the other groups are also included in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the last before adjournment item, which is new business. Any new business? I do want to have an in memoriam, but is there any new business? Yes, Member Wiener.
Thank you, David. I just want to clarify. So there's no meeting in November, and the next meeting is December 4th, and we'll be voting on the endorsements for the local issues on the March ballot. There will be a PAC meeting beforehand, interview, or to go over those. That's great. Okay, thank you very much. December 4th.
It will be December 4th in this same place, same location. We will be sending information for a November meeting to have, as you noted, a PAC where interviews can be held for the measures that are on the ballot for March.
Thank you.
Member Alexander.
The healthcare workers of SEIU 10-1 are having a speak out on on October 30th at 7:30 a.m. at 450 Golden Gate Avenue. And Dennis Herrera will be there. This is regarding the federal judge holding the hearing on a final change by the Department of Health and Human Services, basically to allow people religious discrimination, the excuse to discriminate against LGBTQ folks in healthcare. And so the union is asking for allies to show up and to join in the call against discrimination, the right to discriminate, and also to make it clear that actually San Francisco is not going to stand for that, and that healthcare is still available for everybody without discrimination here locally. Yes,
Great.
it's on Tuesday, October 30th at 7:30 a.m.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other announcements? New business? Member Ting? So go ahead, Member Ting, and then we'll go to Member Lowe.
Is this the time for adjourns memory or to add adjourns memory?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh.
Member Lowe.
I mean, the executive committee and maybe the committees have already been doing this, but this kind of sparked during the conversation around the new election process. But is there any capacity or resources we can place to start recruiting people to vote for this primary in March? I know in our community, APIs are typically not registered Democrat, but I'm sure as hell that they probably want to stay in this primary election. But and if we can do advanced communication and ads and outreach, maybe more of them can. So I was just wondering if you could put that out there. Wasn't sure if we were already working on that. And then number two, on Sunday, President Normani is running the Yes on Prop A campaign. This is a historic ballot measure, as you know. We're doing outreach on the west side, starting at Unity Plaza on Ocean Avenue at 10 a.m. on Sunday. This is the final stretch. We need 2/3 of the vote. It's not a really huge election, so we really need every vote we can get. If you haven't come out for Prop A, we'd love to see you on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. And just with respect to the primary vote, that's one of the items that will be on the executive committee agenda. And actually one of the challenges that we have is that we have a large number of members of the Chinese American community that are not registering as Democrats, so this is a perfect opportunity to do outreach because they will be paying attention to the presidential primary. Colleagues, any other comments? Okay, so now we'll go to any in memoriam. And so we'll turn it to Member King. I have one as well.
Thank you, Chair Campos. So I just came today from a memorial service for, some of you may have known her from her time either the staff for Senator Wiener in his district office or in previous work, Anna Boyan. She was taken very suddenly from us end of September, just shy of her 27th birthday. And a lot of you may have known Anna. She worked with ground floor with Alex Turk for SF City for Senator Wiener on the volunteer campaign. She worked for Lieutenant Governor Newsom on his 2010 Lieutenant Governor race, and at the time of her passing was working for the Department of Investor Relations, and just as someone who'd gotten to know her before she joined hers in my office, that she was always bringing a smile to your face, asking how you were doing, always making sure that bringing energy to whatever room that she came in, and trying to make sure that everybody, and also at the same time bringing, Senator Weir today at the memorial talked about how she brings a smile to his face whenever he would be, grumpy about whatever it was. She'd always had that energy. So just, I'd like to submit that we adjourn today in memory of Anna Aboyan.
Thank you. Without objection. And our thoughts and prayers to her family and loved ones. The one that I have, and this is, I know that the speaker and her representatives or proxies were not here today, were not able to be here. But as some of you probably read, we had recently the passing of Thomas Alessandro, who is Speaker Pelosi's brother, who passed at the age of 90, former mayor of Baltimore, and in the words of as she called him, was the finest public servant that I have ever known. So if we, without objection, can also adjourn the meeting in the memory of Thomas Alessandro III, brother to Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So seeing no further business before the committee, the meeting is adjourned. San Francisco Democrats, we're just a few days away from the election. Please, whatever you do, please make sure you go out and vote.
I'll see you very soon. I'm sure we will. Bye, Rex. See you later.
Anybody else?
No, not a problem. Good. Starting to fill up the group to get ready for the run. So, yeah.
Yes. Good to see you always. I know we're